Welcome to the channel, y'all. First of all, what is happening right now are we going through a cyber attack? I think if you're seeing this video as I'm posting it later, you're probably noticing that it's not necessarily a cyber attack, but a major cybersecurity company called CrowdStrike did an upgrade, something happened, and it affected the entire world. Airlines, banks, supermarkets, payment processors, everything going down, all the flights being canceled. I actually knew a few people that were traveling today, canceled, went early to the airport, crazy. Now, the real thing about this, though, is I want to talk about your money, the banks, right? The banks hold your money. If these things happen, which probably it will happen, and again, it's just my guess with the way things are going. Does anyone remember the AT&T outage like a year or so ago when all of a sudden like nobody had service like whatsoever for like 6, 7 hours? And we've kind of had these small little blackouts here and there, which is kind of weird because we haven't really had them for a while. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about, the banks and your money and what is in the banks, how you can get access to them, or if there's even ways, or what happens if we actually have a certain type of cyber attack. Now, the funny thing is, I'm going to show you guys something. Now, this guy's funny, but I just wanted to show you guys the comments. Essentially, a company that builds software to protect computers against cyber attacks has deployed a software update that behaves exactly like a cyber attack, shuts everything down. These are just funny comments. He goes through Twitter threads, which, right, you should probably get your news from Twitter over the TV. But we don't need to test this patch. Deploy the update to all customers immediately. Nothing can go wrong. I don't always test my code, but when I do, it's in production. If you guys aren't in tech, you might not understand that, but large companies like this literally have different server boxes that they test upgrades and test things in. They have a test box, they have a post dev box, they have different boxes that are not live, like production. Production is your live environment that you would test these things in before you go live with them. So it's just kind of funny that someone just decided to flip the switch, bang, bang, all of a sudden everything goes down and they don't know what's happening. So it's just funny that they wouldn't utilize their other environments that aren't live to be able to do this. So just some funny comments from this guy. But what I want to do is because I am super smart and understand all of this stuff so much, I actually want to use ChatGPT because it is just as smart, just to let you guys understand what would happen if an actual cyber attack happened and you didn't have access to your banking information, your money. So if you don't have access to your money in the payment processors and you're not able to use your cards or other places aren't able to use your cards, you might want to have some cash on hand. But I want to walk through some scenarios, first of all, in terms of credit, finances, money, cash, like I said, right? If a cyber attack were to happen, we're going to have global outages. Online banking services, ATMs, payment processing, they're all going to go down. They're going to be inaccessible. What happens if this happens over multiple days, multiple weeks, months, right? Then we're kind of in the apocalyptic scenario that you might see that Obama movie has, right? Operational paralysis, banks, internal operations, trading desks, right? Trading markets, they go down. Data breaches, sensitive customer data could be exposed. Now, to be honest, when these things happen, especially in the credit side of things, I talk a lot about credit and finances on this page. If these things happen, these are great reasons to get stuff removed from your credit report. Now, this is not financial advice, but when certain companies like TransUnion or Equifax or Experian, the credit bureaus that really take your information and run with it with everything you do, if there's certain scenarios like banking systems and financial systems and certain banks going down, you could use this as a reason to get things taken off of your report, negative items to help you out, maybe even debt. Just saying, right? So that is something to think about when these things happen. Take advantage of them in your scenario. Loss of trust, public confidence, whatever. If you guys don't understand the banking system, if you have money in the bank, 99% of that is actually not being held in cash reserves, right? So even that's why like the banking system is so archaic. They are connected to so many different technologies. So no matter what, if this were to happen, some type of cyber attack, any type of company, AT&T, CrowdStrike, whatever other companies, they are archaic. They're in Unix, they're in Linux, they're in Windows, they're in all of these systems, and they're not very new. So no matter what, the banking system is going to be affected. Just letting you all know that, right? So, and if you have, $10,000 in that bank, they're lending out $100,000 of that, and then they're only holding, a few $100s. So they don't actually have your money. That's why it takes you multiple days to actually withdraw money from $10,000 up It takes because they haven't put it on their books to say, hey, we want to release this much cash today, right? So that is exactly also why it's good to have money on the blockchain. It's good to have money in crypto, in Bitcoin, because it is not owned by an actual company. They do not take control over it. You have control over it. So I will say that, yes, if this were to happen, you should probably have some type of cryptocurrency, even though you're probably not going to have access to the internet, but you should have some more cash just in case this were to happen, right? It's because you're not going to have access to your funds. You're going to have payment failures. So we're not going to be able to get our points and miles from our credit cards, right? Financial fraud, increased risk of transactions and identity theft, right? Another reason to get things removed, bad things off of your report if they are affecting you. Now, if this happens long, right? It could affect us crazily, right? Backup systems, but that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the financial system, what you should be aware of. And of course, if I just come out here with a bunch of different conspiratorial ideas, you guys might be like, whoa, crazy man. But I wanted to bring up ChatGPT because they're pulling everything from the internet. And then you guys will believe ChatGPT, right? As well as, some of my opinions in there. But I was just letting you guys know if this were to happen for a long period of time, maybe have cash on hand, maybe start investing into other assets. But understand that this has happened multiple times over the since 2020, to be completely honest. I should have showed you guys on the chat GPT. I asked all of the different cyber attacks or certain downturns that have happened. But for me, what I remember is the AT&T outage less than a year or so ago when all of our phones went down, couldn't even access the internet. So certain things like that, if this continues to happen, it's also crazy that this is happening after, the Trump situation, which is a little wild. And they didn't test it. They didn't throw it in their test server or their non-prod server or their development server. They just flicked it on and said, all right, Friday, let's get after it. Let's get done with Friday early. So that is some ideas to think about. If you are in the banking system, which I'm sure you bank with some banks, and you can utilize them just like a lot of rich and famous people do, is they take money from the banks to invest in other assets. You should also be thinking the same way instead of putting all of your money in your savings accounts, because what happens if they go through this scenario, they have another cyber attack or something happens that could be planned or unplanned, and all of a sudden your money just like vanishes. That could happen. It's just a scenario. Your money could just vanish. And then maybe they throw us on a CBDC, right? Because they just keep printing money, or maybe they just print a ton of money again, and then all of a sudden you have money in your accounts and boom, vanish. Now they throw a CBDC out there. Who knows? I'm just throwing different ideas out there. I have no clue, right? I keep getting surprised. Today I was surprised. I was not necessarily affected. I went to the gym, had a great workout, and then here I am recording you guys a video because might as well, right? Might as well talk about the financial system related to my channel. What could happen if this happens? This is great. So let me know if you guys were affected at all, if you guys were affected in your job, where you saw issues. I want to see what you guys think and let me know what your opinions are. Like, this seems like it was just a mishap. It wasn't actual cyber attack, but do you think possible cyber attack could happen? We've had, 6 or 7 of them over the last 3 or so years, which is a little bit different than what I remember when I was a little bit younger, but hey, who knows? All right. Appreciate you guys. Peace.